could stop me. I'm in the zone. Competition's none in a league of my own.
Hello everybody, welcome again to our channel. My name is Lonobo Fololo. I'm a cryptocurrency enthusiast and entrepreneur. I'm quite excited today to be bringing you this training, regarding Bitcoin and also opportunities around Bitcoin. So, before we do that, I actually want to go through, what we covered on the previous video in case you missed that one. We're saying that, Bitcoin is possibly the best innovation or invention ever since the internet. Just to go through a little bit in terms of what we covered on the previous video, we said Bitcoin is a currency just like your rand, your dollar, your British pound, the Chinese yen, except for the fact that it's not owned or controlled by any government. It's 100% decentralized. And as you will see over the last 10 years, if you were to look at Bitcoin over the last 10 years versus other currencies, you'll find that other currencies will have lost value, whereas Bitcoin actually has, more than doubled its value. In fact, it has gone, more than 1,000 times in value over the last 10 years. So it is a currency. You can use it to purchase goods and services. As you can see, most retailers online right now, you can use Bitcoin to literally pay, for goods and services. And then secondly, Bitcoin is a commodity, or some classify it as commodity because of the fact that one, it is, got a scarce element and it's got a desirable element. So as more and more people, actually buy or get involved into Bitcoin in whatever way or form, you'll find that the price of Bitcoin appreciates. So meaning someone can buy Bitcoin, hold on to it for a couple of years, knowing that over time the value of Bitcoin will appreciate, as we have seen over the last 10 years. I mean, right now we're talking, the market cap of Bitcoin is sitting at around 178 billion US dollars. This is a new currency and commodity, that just started in 2009. So that's phenomenal. No asset class over the last 10 years has performed better than Bitcoin. And I hope you got that. There is no asset class on the planet over the last 10 years that has performed better than Bitcoin. So it is something that you want to, watch closely and probably get involved in. So the third thing we've mentioned is that Bitcoin is a payment system. So meaning if I need to send money to anyone around the world, Bitcoin is a much faster, safer, and easier way of sending money, cheaper as well, to anyone anywhere around the world. And the bottom line is Bitcoin is censorship resistant. That is very, very important. All right. So those are the top three, topics that we covered in the previous video. So now we'll get to the fact that, so what are the opportunities that are involved in Bitcoins, right? There's actually three. I want to focus on two. Let me tell you about the first one, then I'm not going to focus on one. You can trade Bitcoins. There's a lot of people who are, they use exchanges, buy and sell Bitcoin, trade Bitcoin. That's not my favorite element about it, and you will see why as I go along. But you can definitely trade Bitcoins, okay? And the second thing about Bitcoin is what we call buy and hold, okay? Buy and hold. Okay, so with buy and hold, if for example right now, one Bitcoin, let's say one Bitcoin is sitting at around 9,700 US dollars, all right? If you were to buy this one Bitcoin or a fraction of it, and let's say you keep it for 3 years, all right? Keep it for 3 years. Let's say the value of Bitcoin, of course, this is not financial advice. I'm just saying that this is possible. Looking at over the last 10 years, what has happened to the price of Bitcoin. So let's say in 3 years time, the value of this one Bitcoin, let's say it goes to, $15,000. Maybe someone is saying, is that a possibility? Of course, yes. If you were to look at, the price of Bitcoin over the last 10 years, in fact, every 3.5 years, more or less, you'll find that the price of Bitcoin normally goes up by a factor of plus minus, 15, 18 times, So this is being conservative, if you look at the history of Bitcoin. But let's just say it is. So if you have bought one Bitcoin for 9,700 US dollars, that's today's value, and in 3 years time the value of this one Bitcoin is $15,000, of course that is a very, very good return on investment. I doubt there's any investment on the planet that will give you those kind of returns if that were to be the scenario. Okay, Now, the second one I want to zoom in on is what is called Bitcoin mining. All right. Okay. So Bitcoin mining, I will explain what it's all about. It's not, no one goes underground. There's no rock drilling or anything of the nature. I'll talk about what Bitcoin mining is. But let's just talk about a possible investment scenario with Bitcoin mining. All right. So let's just say you have invested the same amount, which is 1 Bitcoin. So you've invested 1 Bitcoin and you bought it at, as we said, $9,700 and you hold on to your mining earnings, meaning you don't withdraw for 3 years. Okay, so 3 years you are getting daily your mining earnings, and let's just say in 3 years time, you have generated from your 1 Bitcoin 3 to 6 Bitcoins. This is a great possibility, but let's just say for argument's sake, you don't get 3 to 6 Bitcoins. You only manage to earn 2 Bitcoins. Okay? And if you earn 2 Bitcoins in a space of 3 years, and the value of 1 Bitcoin is $15,000, then that means you'll be sitting with a net return of $30,000. Okay, so that's double what you would have made. So it's the same amount invested, same time frame, which is 3 years, but just 2 different instruments. Whereas mining, you could have easily doubled. You could have tripled your money. Anything is possible. But let's just keep it conservative. Let's say you doubled your money, and so meaning you would have made $30,000. All right. So now maybe you're wondering, so if that is the case, then what is this mining? It sounds interesting because all of us, we do want, a good return on our money. We want our money to work as hard as we work. So let's look at what Bitcoin mining is. Okay. So when we talk about mining, look at it this way. Let's say this is Bitcoin, right? And you've got thousands of high-powered servers all over the world, all connecting to this network. All right. So like I said, these high-powered servers, it's actually much more complex than this. Actually, it would look like maybe something like that. Something of the nature, because this is a decentralized network, of high-powered servers, and so forth. So each one is connected to the other. They're all connected via the internet. The beautiful thing is that if I've got, these high-powered servers and I'm running them at the back of my house, there's very little way of anybody knowing that I'm actually running the servers at the back of my home. So each server does not know where the other is, and that's not important. Okay. So what do the servers do? One, they secure the network of Bitcoin. I remember at some point, I'm not 100% sure with the stats right now. I remember at some point, the network in terms of the computing power, if it was compared to your normal supercomputers out there used by, governments and research institutions, you would need those computers 80,000 times to get to the same computing power of the network of Bitcoin. And I am aware of the fact that over the last few years, the network of Bitcoin, in terms of its computing power, it has gone up quite considerably. It's growing almost on a daily basis. So these computers secure the network of Bitcoin. So if you ever hear any headlines saying that Bitcoin was hacked, Bitcoin can never be hacked. The only thing that does get hacked from now and then, if people are not careful, is exchanges. What are exchanges? Exchanges are simply institutions or companies that allow people to buy and sell cryptocurrencies. So if their security is not 100% safe, then they can get hacked. But the network itself can never get hacked. It is impossible. Okay. So the second thing these computers do is they power the network of Bitcoin, right? It has to have, some hardware powering the system somewhere. So that is what these high-powered servers do. And then the third thing, which is very important, is they verify transactions. Okay. So this is what happens. Every 10 minutes, all transactions of Bitcoin happening all over the world, whether someone is in China, India, Pakistan, doesn't matter where the person is. All those transactions get recorded together in what is called a transaction block. As long as they occur in the 10 years, they get recorded together in the transaction block. So that will be, your transactions. So the guys who are called miners, I think right now we have about 18 mining pools, 18 mining pools globally. So what those guys do is they literally compete every 10 minutes to see who is actually going to verify this particular block of transaction first, and whoever does then get what is called a block reward, which is the newly generated Bitcoin. So if at this moment there was 0 Bitcoins and one miner successfully verifies the block, verifies the transaction and so forth, that miner will then get a reward of currently 12.5 Bitcoins. So meaning after 10 minutes, there will be now 12.5 new Bitcoins in circulation. Of course, that particular miner would have received them for the reward of the job that they have done. All right. So what they do with those Bitcoins, that's entirely their prerogative, because it's actually their money. All right. They will possibly, service the machines, buy the latest machines. They will, pay for electricity and stuff, and whatever the case is. That's what's going to happen with those new Bitcoins. So it was not always 12.5 new Bitcoins every 10 minutes. Like I said before, that when it comes to Bitcoin, it's literally designed so that it is deflationary. Okay, it appreciates in value over time. So going back to how this new Bitcoins actually come into circulation. Now, when Bitcoin started in 2009 on the 3rd of January, it was 50 new Bitcoins, given to the miners as a block reward. Then 3.5 years later, it auto-reduces. This is all part of the programming, or the coding of Bitcoin. It reduced to 25 new Bitcoins per 10 minutes, and is currently sitting on 12.5 new Bitcoins. So meaning every single day today, we get 1,800 new Bitcoins coming into circulation. Only 18 companies are competing, or 18 mining pools are competing for those Bitcoins. All right. So next year around May, June, what's happening? We have another halving event. This is very, very important for the entire Bitcoin community, as it means one of the two things. So it's going to go to 6.25 new Bitcoins every 10 minutes. All right. What normally happens after that? If you've got any commodity where the demand of that commodity is, doing this, going up and down, but the trend is going up, but all of a sudden the supply is now, cut in half. What do you think is going to happen to the price of Bitcoin, of that commodity? So the price of that commodity will normally follow exactly the same trend. All right. So what is the entire community expecting next year? Just like all the other, previous two halvings we had, the community is expecting the price of Bitcoin, to pick up in pace, because there's actually much more talk around Bitcoin right now than it was over the previous two halvings. So we're expecting, another bull run to possibly come next year around May. So one has to position themselves for, that eventuality. Right. So Bitcoin mining, this is why. Remember I said with Bitcoin mining, you could have received, you can get 3 to 6 Bitcoins over the next 3 years. And worst case scenario, we said you'll get 2 Bitcoins. If you get 2 Bitcoins, that's the result you will get. Now, how does one then start Bitcoin mining? There's what we call solo mining. There's what we call pool mining. Solo mining would mean you buy your own equipment, you run your own equipment, make sure that you've got enough electricity, great cooling equipment and so forth. It is quite an expensive exercise, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can get your fingers bent quite badly. So that is why, personally, over the last 3 years, I've been mining with pool mining. And I'm happy to present to you, this new opportunity, pool mining, where, we've got, the best of the best in the industry running this mining equipment, with the company called Mining City, running the equipment for us. And all we do is every single day, we do get a share of the Bitcoins that are mined. Okay. So what we do is we contribute to the computing power of the company. So meaning the money that we buy computing power with, they literally go and buy more, computing power, and with that, the bitcoins that are mined then are shared with all the investors. So how does it work? There is basically 4 entry points, as I would call it. We've got a package for $500. So what does this package entail? Okay, what this package entails is, 1, you will then start earning after 10 days. So there's a 10-day waiting period. Okay, 10 days waiting period. And then after that, you will get paid for 1,100 days. That's a long time of you getting paid, bitcoins. And so the 1,100 days, that is if you do not contribute, a portion of what you are earning to buy more shares in the pool. So if you want, you can set it back, set it on 0% reinvestment, and that means your contract will then run for 1,100 days. Should you be like me, want to get paid for as long as Bitcoin mining is profitable, you then want to take a portion of what you are earning, of which that's all your prerogative. You can set it on 30%, 40%, 50%. It does not matter. It's entirely your choice. So you are in control as far as your money is concerned. So you get paid for 1,100 days. All right. So, and what you are getting for your $500, you are getting 5 terahash. Okay, getting 5 terahash per second. That's your mining contract. The beauty with this particular company is that, your mining contract that you're buying, okay, your computing power, this stays the same for the entire duration of the contract. So meaning, if there's a million people joining after you, it does not affect you because your contract remains for the entire duration of your contract. Okay, which is a very, very good thing to have. So, and then the second one would be, this is what we call the bronze package, which is $1,000. And then we've got what is called the silver package, which is $2,000. Right. And then we've got our flagship, which is called the gold package. It's $3,500. What that simply means is that if you buy this package, you'll then be earning from your 500 from your standard package. You'll also be earning, from your 1,000, you'll earning from your 2,000. So you'll see on your statement that you will get paid 3 times every single day. All right. So basically, you'll find that in terms of the computing power, everything stays the same. The waiting period, the amount of days you're gonna earn. But the computing power for this one, it will be double. So meaning for the bronze package, you are getting 10 terahash, and then for the silver, you are now getting 20. And then for the gold one, you are now getting 35. Okay, meaning you are getting 7 times whatever you will get for the first one. All right. So what's lovely about this is that, we've got a third-party site that we are using. So if you go to our website, I'll put the link below. If you go to our website and you're looking at buying maybe either package, you can go where it says calculate my mining earnings, and it will take you to a third-party site called Crypto Compare. Most of you might be familiar. It's a third-party site that people use to check in terms of profitability. If they intend to mine Ethereum, Zcash, Monero, Litecoin, they can go in there and say, I've got this amount of computing power, this is the cost of my electricity, and it will then tell you how profitable that coin is to mine with that information that you actually gave the site. So same way here, it will pull up from our website, the input in terms of that particular pool that you're buying. It will then tell you the profitability. So meaning you can then see how many bitcoins you will generate per day, per week, per month, and per year. It will then tell you, based on today's value, how much is that, corresponding US dollar value for your daily earnings, from your weekly earnings, your monthly earnings, and the year. So it is a great tool to have, so that people can see what they're literally getting themselves into. All right. So that's the first part. That's how you get involved. I've been involved right now. with this company. The results are phenomenal, you know. And I've seen the mining facility based in Kazakhstan, you know, fourth cheapest electricity in the world, you know, high-tech facility, you know. So very favorable electricity rates, you know, very favorable you know, equipment, you know, our contract with the suppliers, so the input cost is actually quite low. That's why we are very profitable. But you know, as they say, the proof is in the, you know, is in the eating. So get involved, and so that you can see for yourself what this company can actually do for you. Cheers.